We say that an equation is quadratic if the equation can be rewritten in terms of an x squared term, an x term, and a constant. So an equation is quadratic if it can be written in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, with a, b, and c constants. Okay, so some examples. Let's actually put the examples here. An example, how about 3x plus 2, x minus 1 plus 7 equals x? Well, you'd have to distribute some things. You'd have to gather like terms, but can you see that essentially you're going to get out x squareds, x's, and constants? So this is an example of a quadratic equation. A non-example would be something that, let's say, had a fractional power. So 3x to the 3 halves equals 2x minus 1. Or let's imagine we had 1 over x plus 3x squared plus 1 equals 0. Or just x to the third plus 2x plus 1 equals 0. Notice that's what we call a cubic. Okay, so examples, non-examples. And when you have quadratics, we're going to spend a fair bit of time thinking about how to find solutions to quadratic equations. But for the time being, let's think about something called the square root property. So if you're solving something like this, best case scenario, you have an equation that says something like x squared equals some non-negative number. X squared equals 7. In which case, there are sort of two options, okay? X could equal positive the square root of 7 or negative the square root of 7. And so you'd have something called a solution set that you could write as the square root of 7 comma negative the square root of 7, or often people just write plus or minus the square root of 7. Now, it's very important to notice that when you have a quadratic equation like this, both of these answers are solutions. So let's just refresh our memory on what this symbol means. Actually, this is just the negative of this. So what does it mean if you had the square root of 7? That means the number that when multiplied by itself is 7. So this is a number. That number times itself is 7. Okay, so in general, we have this property. Typically, it's written x squared equals k, implies x equals plus or minus the square root of k.